We've all dreamt of it, haven't we? That moment on Antiques Roadshow when a family heirloom, gathering dust in the attic, turns out to be a priceless treasure. The show is legendary for unearthing centuries-old marvels, some worth jaw-dropping sums, others just delightfully quirky. But every now and then, a discovery comes along that makes history not for its staggering value, but for an entirely different reason. The chest that rocked the roadshow. Back in 1998, in the bustling city of Hull, an episode aired that would become truly unforgettable. A guest presented a charming chest of drawers, believed to be an 18th century antique, a piece that had been a cherished part of her family for generations. Furniture expert Christopher Payne stepped up, ready to unravel its story. As Christopher began his meticulous examination, the air crackled with anticipation. The spiders don't necessarily guarantee authenticity, he mused, a twinkle in his eye. But when you look at the underneath of this and how it's been constructed, there's clearly been a lot of reconstruction of the feet and the blocking. The way it's done is not even really an attempt to make it look like an old one, but this is quite common because a lot of this worn-out furniture has replaced feet. He admired the chest's compact size. What I like is this very small size, and the market likes the small size too. It's ostensibly Queen Anne, George I, 1700 to 1720. So far so good, right? It sounded like the perfect antique. A family tale and a deep dive into details. The guest, beaming with pride, shared her family's charming tale. The story in the family is that it came into the family with my grandfather's grandmother, who was a housekeeper at a big house in Staffordshire. She continued, painting a vivid picture of its journey through generations. When she married the gardener, she was supposed to have been given this as a wedding present. Now my grandfather was born in 1854, and it was his grandmother, so that would take it back to about 1820, 1830. A beautiful lineage, hinting at a long and storied past. Christopher then turned his attention to a drawer, scrutinizing it with the keen eye of a seasoned detective. Firstly, it's a well-made drawer. Nice dry oak, exactly what one would expect from the early 18th century. Our hopes were soaring, weren't they? But then, a slight pause. But when you look a bit more closely, the fineness of the dovetails is not brilliant. It's not as well done as I'd like it to be. I'm suspicious about this staining on the edge here. The stain is the same on the top as along the dovetails, and I have the suspicion somebody has done that to give it a bit of age and wear. The unbelievable twist. He pressed on, his expression growing more serious. You have to ask yourself, does that look like nearly 300 years of wear? I don't think it does at all, I'm afraid. When I look at this, I think this is something made at the very earliest at the turn of this century. The guest's face fell, a mix of surprise and disappointment washing over her, but Christopher wasn't finished. He was about to drop a word rarely, if ever, heard on the Antiques Roadshow. I'm going to have to use a word I don't think I've ever used on the roadshow. I think it's a fake. A collective gasp could almost be heard across the nation. The guest, clearly stunned, stammered, "Oh, not a reproduction, a real fake." Christopher clarified, "I think the person who made this intended for it to look old, whereas the reproduction pieces of the 1920s and 1930s were always making things which even to the vaguely trained eye don't look old. This you need to look at really quite carefully." A priceless outcome. While the chest wasn't the centuries-old antique the family believed it to be, Christopher had one final piece of information that brought a smile back to the guest's face. He estimated its retail value in current market terms to be between £3,000 and £6,000. The visibly moved guest responded, her voice filled with genuine warmth. "Oh well, that's lovely. We've always wanted to know the history of it and whether it was old or not, so that settled it." And that, dear readers, is the true magic of Antiques Roadshow. It's not always about the eye-watering price tag, but about the stories, the discoveries, and the sheer joy of uncovering the truth, no matter how surprising. This episode wasn't just about a chest of drawers, it was about a family finally knowing the real history of a cherished possession, and that in itself is absolutely priceless.